Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's Lair. I am your host, Larry the Chupacabra, and we're back for another delicious indie first lookification with Battle Recruits, which is available on web, iOS, and Android. Pretty much all the things. And this is a game that is all about wedding pieces of games such as Snake, you know, that classical game where you roll around as a roving, elongated, stretched set of pixels, eating snake-related victuals and trying not to eat your own tail, or risk becoming the Ouroboros snake, I think it was called, where it was the snake eating its own tail. Very bad for your health. Don't go nibbling on your own tails, kids. And also different games, sort of like Clash of Clans, where you build up an army and attack enemy fortifications, fortresses, watchtowers, traps, various sorts of magic hoodoo. And, you know, I feel like it's a little bit of a League of Legends inspiration in here, too, because you've got different kinds of champions, like this horned fellow here, Stonebelly, or Sidero, or Necro, all these saucy fellows, and they all have their own unique abilities and sorts of perks that you get depending on how you like to play this game and what you prefer to do for tactics. So before I go into any more detail, we'll just jump right in here. So here we are on a very checkerboardy related battlefield that kind of looks reminiscent of Snake, and our mission is to gather up soldiers in order to defeat an ancient evil. Well, maybe she's not so ancient, maybe that's a rude way to describe her, but we've got this old witch, and she's not really all that friendly. She has caused these islands in the sky, these floating rock fortresses to form, and you know what, we're not so keen on that continuing. And as you can see, while I collect all of these minions, they form behind me like the tail of a massive saucy snake. And then once we've got a few of them, we will go up to this watchtower over here, and we will unleash them with the spacebar, which also unleashes a small barrage of arrows from my character's crossbow. Fortunately, they seem to kind of always do their own little jittery thing. So we'll actually just use our space plus Z in order to fire our hero's secondary ability, which is that grayed out button in the lower left, which fires a deadly seeking crossbow missile, which touches the fanny of whatever happens to be in front of your character at the time. And so this primarily is the game. You avoid obstacles, you gather up a villainous army of people. Well, maybe not villainous, I think some of these people are pretty stand-up gents, like, you know, you got a sword-juggling soldier, and some archers and stuff. You know, I'm sure they're stand-up blokes in the town market when they're trying to get some money for food, you know, like, I'm sure the archers, you know, they put on a nice, entertaining show for all the people at the bazaar, where they grab some random kid and stick an apple on his head and start firing missiles of arrows at his face. You know, good, clean, wholesome, safe fun for the whole family. And of course, the soldier juggles knives, as you see right here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And now that we've got, what, 16 minions, we will go and finish killing off this last castle with all of them. And that is our goal. We want to destroy however many castles are on the board at one time, and avoid smacking our face into any obstacles or getting shot by cannons or turrets or watchtowers of all variety. And we go through that to progress in the game and gain in-game currency to either save our bacon if we screw up, or if we want to unlock, say, a new character. And I think they are partially randomly generated. Don't think that would be too particularly difficult. And the other thing that I wanted to show you was right there. If you run into an obstacle, if you run into your own tail of soldiers, all your soldiers scatter. Sometimes you take a bit of damage when you collide with objects or you get shot, and all your soldiers scatter, and some of them fall off the edge, which means you cannot retrieve them. Although I'm not sure how punishing that is, given that, you know, you seem to have an endless source of these units that come fight for you, and you know, there don't seem to be any shortage of people willing to start a rebellious uprising of peasants and former mercenaries and touch people's fannies in the warfare. Seems we're pretty good on that, actually. But yeah, I think this has got a lot of potential to it. And right after we finish with this level, I'll get into some more. Oh, well, there you get to see what happens when you die. You have to spend some of the in-game gems, which go up every time you screw up, in order to recover your health and get a second chance at finishing the level. And those increase pretty quickly. They get kind of steep after a bit. And I think if you die quite a bit, you know, that's not a terrible way to go about doing it. And if I die, I go back a level. So I have to, like, you know, 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Well, not quite that bad, but that's sort of the mantra that we've got going. Oh, come here. I want to... sometimes the controls don't want to let me get a singular soldier in the center of a dance. A vertigue of death with evil and arrows and ballista. So what's the story in this game? Well, there was once a beautiful and magical kingdom called Tarkath, where a kindly wizard king ruled over the populace with peace, justice, and weird magic jizzle. I see there's this big fancy castle, it's all sorcery and pretty simple, you know? Wizard kings are not known for being overly ostentatious, but there was this evil swamp witch, Mordella. She grew jealous of the wizard king's power and sought to overthrow him, to claim Targath for herself. Tarkath, not Targath. And, you know, I kind of understand Mordella. You know, it's lonely in the swamps. You know, all the other swamp hags are nothing but constant gossips. And then if you're not going to talk to the swamp hags, you got to talk to the crows. And I don't know if you've ever spoken with a crow that's had its beak magically enchanted to form words and letters. But they're really saucy and they're kind of sweary on the weekend. And that's when I want to relax. And so she did battle with the Wizard King, and he fought bravely, giving his life to protect his people. But the magic that Mordella unleashed against him was too great. Targath was shattered into a million pieces, ruining its resale value, and I'm sure she's very steamy and kind of bitter about the whole thing. You know, she wanted a nice villa and a nice, you know, a view, and now it's all ripped to pieces. And so it falls to Whisper, I guess that's us, this little old gnome man, who was the king's apprentice to call upon brave commanders to lead the armies in the fight against Mordella and her evil minions. Bring peace back to the kingdom of Tarkath once more. And, you know, to be fair, I think maybe the wizard was perhaps not the most forward-thinking, because that's a very old apprentice, and usually when I want people to be trained to replace me, I like young whippersnappers to do the thing with the stuff. But that's pretty much the core of it, and as we play through the story mode for this game, we've got some other characters that we can unlock. So we started out with Dalla, and she's got some Flaming Arrow. That is her primary ability, which does a bunch of damage to fortifications. And then she's got the Warrior's Resolve, and when she sends her troop to battle, she does a little arc of arrows in whatever direction she was facing. Very handy if you have a couple of choice obstacles that you need to blitz down so they don't obliterate your army. Comes in handy. And then the other character we're going to check out that you get by default, and maybe purchase Necro, that necromancer I was chatting about, is Stonebelly. And his primary abilities are he can summon a bunch of people out of the aether, like, hey, who wants to make $5 and attack a castle? You! Craigslist Archer, let's do the thing. And then he also has Deserter. He inspires his troops to stay rallied, keeping them around in the vicinity. You know, if a soldier spawns, you basically get more time to go grab them. The downside of Stonebelly is that he doesn't directly touch or fondle or destroy fortifications on his own. He's got to have minions because, you know, he looks like something out of Dungeon Keeper. And what's in the workshop? Got some heroes. Oh, you can unlock different troops for your castle, or just spawn, basically. So that's kind of cool. You can spawn some knights, so I just spawned in some knights. And you can get some sappers. Alright, well maybe I won't unlock Necro, because I have access to all of these cool minions that do different things. So these are mages from beyond the world, who do damage to a large area, but slowly damage themselves. Okay, so these are like passive-aggressive attacking units. We've got knights. The knights are great for soaking up damage. Level them up to make them a force to be reckoned with. And then we've got some sappers, which are literal, like, little naval bombs with feet. These little sapper golems sure pack a punch. If they can make it to the target, that is. Alright, I see where you're going with this. We'll chat about that when we're in the game. So we've got Stonebelly equipped. We've got a couple new minions at our disposal. Let's see what these puppies can do. Let's check out some of these new minions in here. So right now, in our pack of people, we've already unlocked archers when I was playing through this earlier, testing things out. And archers, they... Oops, smacked into a wall. Archers are nice because rather than having to walk up to attack things, they can assault the capsules, the keeps, directly without actually breaking down the gate first. And so those are really handy. The standard soldiers, they're kind of wimpy. They do about medium, middle-of-the-road damage. They have middle-of-the-road health. They just kind of do jack-of-all-trades stuff. They batter down walls and stuff, and they're okay. I mean, we're friends. They're on the Christmas card list. That's about all they can really hope for from me. And then the other thing that we've got going for us is we can use our rallying cry to quickly gather up a huge attacking force and obliterate the different buildings. In theory, if you wanted to get highly scored on the leaderboards, you might want something like Dalla, the archer lady that we were fighting with before, because she can just directly assault any of these buildings with just a handful of people to quickly get up there on the scoreboard. And we are getting touched by arrows. We're going to get away from these towers. Yeah, so there's different reasons why you'd want to play every type of character. This is sort of a very safe and relaxed way about getting a huge army built up very quickly as Stonebelly, because his primary ability is to summon extra people, and then you can just unleash them and they will just go out and function autonomously, which can be very useful. On the downside, it can often take you much longer to do the thing, because all of your minions take quite a bit of damage from things like arrows. I think they can only take like 1 or 2 smacks, maybe not even 2, before they get murdered. We will unleash these ornery suckers. It doesn't seem like my new minions are spawning, so I think you actually have to play through a larger portion of the storyline in order to unlock different fortifications. So the reason I felt that was interesting, that they offer me different units that I can buy and upgrade, is one of the games that I'm a really big fan of, that I play quite a bit of periodically, is actually Orcs Must Die, and Orcs Must Die 2. A couple of games that sort of encourage you to use good tactics and to do like strong, complete clears of different maps and dungeons and levels, because they reward you with like stars, or in the case of Orcs Must Die, they reward you with skulls that you can then use to purchase new traps and towers and things to murder the orcs. And you can also upgrade all of your items that you either unlock through the story, because there are a few that you have to unlock, or you can just use it to buy more stuff. So you can upgrade and you can buy with them. Currently in this game, there doesn't seem to be a huge emphasis on completing the mission without losing a lot of health or without losing a lot of minions. I think you get like a better point score, but I'm not an achievement hunter. I get points because they directly improve my ability to perform on the battlefield. And by that I mean they allow me to gather up extra abilities. You know, maybe my character unlocks a new spell if I get a bunch of crystals and I spend them on a new spell slot that allows me to you know, equip a War Stomp that temporarily disables things like this cannon up here. You see that blue thing up there in the corner? Let's roll up here. This is a cannon. Shoots at you. Not a huge fan, truth be told. That can turn me into a corpse. And like I say very often, I prefer when the red juices on the inside of my body stay in that relatively same vicinity of the inside of my body. So being able to disable them would keep me from dying, and in this case, it would keep my army alive a little bit longer. You know, the other thing is you could purchase the usage of maybe like one-off abilities that can only be used once. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, if you've only used it on one map, you only get it once no matter what map you are per playthrough, and you gotta buy another one, like an airstrike or something, like a griffin comes in and lays an explosive farty egg. Something like that. Some ability to directly purchase stuff with points you get because you did well in the mat, and then that would give me a reason to really try and destroy these side objectives, because as it stands right now, I can just ignore that cannon right there and these watchtowers, and I can just go straight for the main keep. So that, you know, that'd be nice to give me a bit more of a reason to challenge myself. And the other thing is, that's another point, I guess, is I don't feel particularly challenged in these games. This is one of those games that I can get really relaxed playing because it's kind of mindless. You know, you just kind of gather up some glowy people, you know, who knows why they're glowing, and then unleash them to do my bidding. It could be evil, it could be good, who knows. But it's bidding, and I like it when people do stuff I tell them to do. So hey, there's that. But I don't feel particularly threatened by anything happening here in the map. Like, these watchtowers, as long as I stay away from them, they don't kill me. There's no monsters roaming about the map trying to stab me if I don't pay attention to where they're walking on patrol. And there's not a lot of obstacles. I mean, yes, there are a few, and I have to go near them in order to capture some of these troops, but that tree isn't gonna, like, reach out and slap my backside if I get too close. So there's really not a lot to be worried about. There's really not a lot challenging me to stay alive, because really the only person that can harm me is me by not paying attention very much. The only thing I really have to look out for is, you know, the occasional spare crystal, because I want to purchase a new character or something. So it kind of needs a little work still on that front. The other thing is, I feel the gameplay could do by having just more stuff going on. First off is I think you could really do with a counter Snake, because it does adhere to some elements of classical Snake, and that is, you know, you got a tail made up of soldiers, and here's what happens if I run back. Or let me get up a couple more soldiers, and I'll run back through my tail, and I'll show you what happens when you do that. But I lost my train of thought there. But so it's got a bunch of classical Snake elements, so really what you need is you need an extra Snake that's constantly trying to bite your tail off to kill you and to use their own evil denizens against you. So maybe as you fight along, you have to occasionally use one or two of your minions that you've built up as the main force is attacking the castle to fend off the occasional goblin that's roaming around that the enemy Snake can pick up and use to kill you, or to fight your keep. You know, you have like, I mean, these clouds are in, or these castles are in the clouds. Maybe there's like a landing craft, a landing zeppelin. And if the enemy Snake, you know, kills you before you kill the, you know, enemy keep and it destroys your zeppelin, then you got to start over from scratch, or you got to go back down to the previous level and rebuild your zeppelin. And the battleground from the previous level changes slightly, so, you know, have to defend a zeppelin. Different types of gameplay mechanics like that would really add a depth to this game. It would really give it a type of story, because I feel like the story and the narrative element of this game is going to become very critical. As you can see, I can slice my own tail of minions off, and they just scatter for some reason, and jump like lemmings to their death. The other thing is, I feel like there could just be a general load more obstacles, more turrets, more things trying to kill you. You know, random wizards roving around. I'm not sure how you'd fight them, because primarily what you do is you gather up minions and unleash them. But some way to fight your way through a dynamically changing environment would give this yet another added depth. Like, perhaps you have to attack a keep in phases. So the first island, you have to destroy a watchtower. And that watchtower opens up a big wide bridge for you to half across. And then once you get across, a new level of, or a new set of enemies, a new type of threat is unveiled before you, in sort of like a tiered system of defense, like you might have seen people using during wars to fend off, you know, scoundrels or invading armies or what have you. You know, that sort of stuff would add for a very engaging gameplay. Maybe some things you can't destroy. Maybe you have to gather up minions and defend them, and then in your train of people, you can gather up engineers. And you need those one-time or occasional level use engineers in order to fix broken contraptions that were left over from the Wizard King, who is now dead. But only they can kind of tinker around and figure out how to fix it. The average soldier isn't clever or skilled or trained enough in order to fix ancient machines. There's all sorts of stuff that you could do, and then basically that would be you unlock puzzles in this game, constantly moving about in order to progress and then destroy the keep with your ragtag group of cave dungeoneering soldiers. That was a lot of minions. How many was that? A lot. Wow, that was a lot. Yeah. Those are just my thoughts. I think it's got a lot of potential, and I'm really interested in seeing what the guys do with it, but currently there just doesn't seem to be a lot of reason to care about the extra minions that you get. There doesn't seem to be a lot of reason to worry. Oh, see, there we go. We get knights now. So we do have to unlock them progressively through the game. So if you're interested in checking out Battle Recruits, anybody out there watching this video, it is free online to play via Newgrounds in its current form. It probably won't get a lot of updates for the free version. Or you can check out the demo available on both iOS and Android. And if you then decide that you want to keep a hold of it, it's a cheap, I think $99 to $3 game. Yeah, it's a $3 game. And you know, that's reasonable. Never be afraid to spend money on games on mobile. There are delicious games out there, and this might be just your ticket. And until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have a cool game that you'd like me to check out, if you're an indie creator and you've got a sweet game that could look with a video or a first look or a video feedback, which I kind of feel are all kind of interconnected, then feel free to check out my About section and grab my email and send me the info. I always love checking out new games, and despite the things that I found as flaws in this game or that could still use work, because it's very raw feeling still, I did enjoy this game quite a bit. So, until next time, I've been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. Have a great one, everybody, and I will catch you next time